Oh, hello. Come in. Take a seat. And welcome to the Tainted Tavern. Can I get you a drink?
Come into the Tainted Tavern, come sit a while for free. We talk about our musings and devices we've been using.
Welcome to the Tainted Tavern. I hope you got yourself a drink and a bowl, if that's your inclination. Now, tonight I'm going to make an important announcement. Big announcement as far as I'm concerned. And it's a big announcement concerning one Elvis Presley. So stay tuned till the end of the video and you'll see that announcement. If you're impatient, just skip forward now to check the announcement out. But I warn you, if you do that, you'll miss some of the cool stuff I'm going to show you. Now, I wanted to do an Elvis Presley related video because it'll tie in with the announcement I've got to make. And I decided that I'd do one on collecting the King, which is not as easy as it sounds, because Elvis's discography is all over the place. I mean, you had all the movie soundtracks, you had the original Sun stuff he did with Sun Records, then you had his early RCA albums, you had multiple live albums during the 1970s, so collecting Elvis and deciding what's worth getting and what isn't can be quite difficult. Now, I've got in my own collection every single master that Elvis made during the 50s, the 60s and the 70s, and they are just on 3 box sets, which I really love these box sets. They are here. I'm going to show you the box sets first. So this is Elvis, Walk a Mile in My Shoes, the complete 70s masters. I've also got Elvis from Nashville to Memphis, which are the 60s masters, and then I've got the King of Rock and Roll, which is the complete 50s masters. Now each of these sets are multiple CDs. For instance, there's 5 in this first box set, and lovely little books with some fantastic images of Elvis in the books. I believe, whoops, that's not something I want to do. That's one thing about these, the way they hold the discs, if you don't put them in right, it's a little bit hit and miss. You've really got to make sure you've got the discs in correctly. But I don't believe these sets are still in print, and they do fetch premium prices on the second-hand market. But this, the rock and roll years, the Elvis the 50s masters, is probably my favourite period of Elvis. I've always loved that early hillbilly cat Elvis. Elvis the 60s masters, this contains all of the movie soundtracks that there were master recordings made of, but there's also some good stuff during the 60s. It's too easy sometimes to dismiss Elvis's 60s period as being, you know, largely made up of what were, to be honest, a lot of forgettable movies and a lot of silly little songs, which may have worked in the concept of his lightweight movies, but in the context of being a record, not really my thing. But there still was a heck of a lot of good stuff done in the 60s. I mean, Elvis is Back came out in 1960, and I think that is in Elvis's top 5 albums. Towards the end of the 60s, 68, he did the Comeback Special, which was absolutely astounding again. So there was a lot of good stuff made in the 60s, and of course, not all of the movie soundtrack songs were terrible. Far from it, a lot of them were excellent, and several of them are totally amazing. Then the final box set is Elvis, Walk a Mile in My Shoes, which covers his entire 70s output in terms of master recordings. These days I find myself turning a lot more to Elvis during the 70s. I've got to really appreciate that period. A lot of the big ballads he did, and you know, and some of the live performances on here, which were recorded for albums, are stupendous. I mean, Elvis's reading of Bridge Over Troubled Water, the Simon and Garfunkel song, is excellent in itself. I've also got another box set which came out a little later and accompanies these, and this is Elvis live in Las Vegas. It's 4 discs, so it's a bit more vanilla, but it's the same kind of layout as those. You've got a book here with some interesting shots in here. Just dropped a little card out of there. Some interesting shots of Elvis during the 1970s. Now, in terms of vinyl, that's something that I've started building up over recent years because I went through a pattern which is very, very familiar for a lot of people of my age who grew up with vinyl. The CD revolution started in the mid-late 80s, and we were told then, these CDs are so far more superior than records. They don't scratch. They're very durable. So my vinyl went by the wayside, as did a lot of other people's. That's quite a common story. And it was only with the vinyl revival, perhaps 10 years ago, that I got back into vinyl. So I have been building up my Elvis vinyl collection, and I'll show you some of them here. These are modern Elvis albums. This is the recording where they took old Elvis songs and gave them back in from the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. So this is on 180 gram vinyl, audiophile vinyl they used to call it. It's a lot thicker than standard vinyl. Then Elvis is Back, which is the album I just mentioned. One of my favorite Elvis albums, superb album. It's the first album he made when he came out of the army. Elvis for Everyone, which is it's a pretty decent album in itself. I mean, it features a lot of songs from the early period, such as Your Cheating Heart. There are also some movie songs making up the album. Then Elvis in Al Wallace's Blue Hawaii. I've also got this on disc, but this is a lovely blue vinyl. I'm a sucker for coloured vinyl, but this is an actual original RCA album, A Date with Elvis, which is a mixture of some of his early Sun stuff, such as Blue Moon of Kentucky, Young and Beautiful. It comes from the J Love's Rock film, of course. You've got Milk Cow's Boogie, again, which is a Sun recording, so there's a lot of Sun stuff on there. Then, of course, on here, I've got multiple copies of this, both on CD and vinyl. I've only got the one vinyl, but I've got it on CD as well. A couple of copies of it on CD. But this may be the most important rock and roll album that was ever released, and that is Elvis's first album, Elvis Presley, simply titled Elvis Presley, with this iconic cover here, which none other than the Clash paid homage to with their London Calling cover. This album is superb from start to beginning. This is the first album that Elvis cut with RCA. You got Blue Suede Shoes, I'm Counting on You, I Got a Woman, One-Sided Love Affair, I Love You Because, Just Because, Side 2, Tutti Frutti, Trying to Get to You, I'm Gonna Sit Right Down and Cry, I'll Never Let You Go, Blue Moon, and Elvis's version of Blue Moon on here is wow. Hun Money, Honey. Now don't forget, Elvis wasn't really an album artist. No one was during the period that Elvis came to prominence. By far the biggest medium for selling records was singles. Albums were just a collection of singles, and it wasn't until the mid-60s that the albums started to become an art form in themselves. So Elvis never really was an album artist. Elvis Love Song here, which is on the K-Tel label, which was a cheap record label. I'd have to check who owned K-Tel, but these were sold in the supermarkets, the discount type stores, such as Woolworth back in the day. So this is just a collection of Elvis's love songs, but it's a nice, it's a nice little album, and unusual to see Elvis on the K-Tel label. So it's very collectible simply for that fact. Okay, next we've got Elvis Blues, which again is a combination album, and this is on blue vinyl. Elvis never made strictly a blues album. I wish he had. But Elvis Blues collects together tracks in the blues styles. You've got A Mess of Blues, Mystery Train, Trouble, Reconsider Baby, I Feel So Bad, Crawfish. Crawfish comes from the movie King Creole. It's a very simplistic song. Wonderful performance by Elvis, though. We've got Mean Woman Blues, Heartbreak Hotel, Like a Baby, My Baby Left Me, Fever, Blueberry Hill, the famous Fats Domino song, Milk Cow Blues Boogie, and It Feels So Right. Heartbreak Hotel, that's a stunning song which has stood the test of time, but it's difficult to think how that must have sounded originally when it was released, how shocking that sound was to the mainstream. This year then is on RCA Camden, Camden being the budget label owned by RCA. Again, it's a mixture of recent recordings when it was released and movie songs. So you've got Down by the Riverside and When the Saints Go Marching In, They Remind Me Too Much of You, Confidence, Frankie and Johnny Guitar Man, Long-Legged Girl with a Short Dress On, You Don't Know Me, How Would You Like to Be, Big Boss Man and Old MacDonald. So not exactly what you'd call essential record. The cover there, the glue was worn out over the years and I could reglue it, but I don't want to. I'd leave it like this. But I am trying to collect all of the RCA Camden albums. Then we've got Elvis Presley, Jailhouse Rock, which is a modern release of the old soundtrack. And again, this is on coloured vinyl, though it's not blue this time. For some reason, it's yellow. But Jailhouse Rock is a fantastic, one of Elvis's best movies, you know. I think that the 3 or 4 of Elvis's movies are really, really good, or excellent rather. And you know, another 2 or 3 maybe in the good. I'm not a lover of Elvis's movie output, although there are several really great Elvis movies. Elvis's Christmas album, vinyl, loved this album. Had it when I was a kid. Again, this is the RCA Camden version. I had that for Christmas, but the first year I had a record player when I must have been about 11 years of age. Then this is a very, very good record. This is Elvis Presley, A Boy from Tupelo, which collects together all of the Sun Masters. As I say, I love that period. Another RCA Camden, and perhaps the best album RCA Camden ever released, Separate Ways, because it almost plays like a concept album. It was recorded during the time, or rather most of the songs on here were recorded during the time when Elvis was going through a lot of upheaval in his personal life. He just split up with Priscilla, you know, and he was going through all that. And the songs that he chose to sing during this period reflected that situation that was going on. So you've got songs like Separate Ways, which was written, of course, or co-written by Red West, who was one of Elvis's greatest friends. And he knew what was going on in Elvis's personal life. So that song was geared to what was happening to Elvis at that time, and Elvis's vocalization of that, Elvis's performance of this song is stunning. The lyrics are something like, I see a change. Muddy, be quiet. I see a change has come into our lives. It's not the same as it used to be. It's not too late to realize our mistake. We're just not right for each other. And then that goes into Sentimental Me. We've got In My Way, I Met Her Today. What Now, What Next, Where To? That's side 1. Side 2 is Always on My Mind. I slipped, I stumbled, I fell. It's so strange, forget me never. All that works, but then for some weird reason, and whoever made the decision to do it should have been shot. But the last song on here is Old Shep. A different Elvis to the Elvis that sings the other songs. The Old Shep comes from the 1950s. It totally jars on this. This is a stunningly good album, and I do like that quiche cover. Then another of the Elvis Presley Royal Philharmonic recordings, good albums, good recordings rather. Now, an easy and cheap way to get a lot of Elvis's core albums on CD is to pick up these Elvis Presley original album classics. There's 5 volumes in this series, and they come in little mini LP sleeves, which I really like. So this one you've got Elvis Aloha from Hawaii via satellite, the famous, of course, satellite broadcast, which at the time had a massive viewership. And I still believe the record for the amount of people viewing has never been broken. Then we've got Elvis from the 1968 comeback special. Brilliant. We've got a recording here from February 1970 of Elvis on stage. Elvis, That's the Way It Is. A brilliant album here. And finally, Elvis recorded live on stage in Memphis. So they are really good, and I do like these miniature LP sleeves. In fact, I bought a lot of these box sets, and what I do then, I get little protecting sleeves for the CDs. You've got Girls, 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 Elvis is Back, which I showed you on vinyl, Elvis, which is Elvis's second album, the first album, Elvis Presley, we've got Blue Hawaii, we've got Viva Las Vegas, Lovin' You. This is interesting, this is a single. I got stung, and one night I've got several more of these up in my loft, which I'm going to have to get down because they never came down when we moved into this house. But these were issued during the 40th anniversary of Elvis's death, and these were reissued, and they have facsimiles of the original singles, so little CDs, and a lot of these charted. I'd have to look that up, but Elvis actually charted several times during this campaign to reissue his singles. We've got Fun in Acapulco, Potluck, oh, that's an Ari Nielsen one, GI Blues, Golden Records, 50,000 Elvis Fans Can't Be Wrong, which is Gold Records Volume 3, Volume 2, we've got Gold Records Volume 3, Gold Records Volume 4, and Gold Records Volume 5. As I say, these original album classics, a lot of other artists have been released in these as well. There's just a couple, there's Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas, the Stray Cats, and dropped on the floor there, the Swingin' Blue Jeans. Other CDs I've got from by Elvis. I've got a lot more than this, but I'm going to have to go to my loft, because when we moved into this house, going back 5 years ago now, not everything came out, and so I put a lot of boxes of CDs up the loft, meaning to go through them. I still haven't got around to that. But I've got a lot more Elvis CDs. This is the recent soundtrack from the epic Elvis Presley movie. We've got Elvis Today, King Creole, Elvis Live, another edition of the Golden Records, which I just showed you in the miniature LP sleeve. We've got Christmas with Elvis. We've got Elvis, That's the Way It Is. Again, I showed this, an edition of this in the miniature sleeves. Burn in Love, which is a combination album. But this is really good. It's got a lot of the Elvis's 70s stuff. It's a good collection. This then is quite interesting. This is Elvis Presley, the complete 56 sessions. So you've got all of the masters of 56, which are covered in my box set of the King of Rock and Roll anyway. But you've also got outtakes, which are not on the King of Rock and Roll, and a nice little booklet to give you all the information. So yeah, this is a decent CD combination, and that's Lovin' You, and another copy of Elvis is Back, and Elvis for LP fans only. So that's just the bulk of my Elvis collection. If I showed you everything I got, this video would go on a lot longer than this. I'd be showing you books, I'd be showing you magazines. I've got a lot. I've got a facsimile of Elvis's birth certificate. A lot of Elvis stuff in my collection. Now, my important Elvis Presley announcement. Well, today I signed a contract with my publisher, Pen and Sword Books, to produce an Elvis Presley book, which will come out next year. It'll come out next August, so that will coincide with the 50th anniversary of the death of the King of Rock and Roll. I'm not going to give you the book title at this stage, nor am I going to tell you the concept of the book at this stage. I will tell you that as we get closer to publication date, when I'll start doing some more videos to plug the book. But what I will say is there are hundreds and hundreds of Elvis Presley books out there. The pitch that I gave my publisher in order to get this book accepted, it needed to be something quite unique. It needed to be a new angle, and this is a new angle on Elvis Presley, because most books will tell the story of Elvis, you know, how he was born into poverty, then it'll look at the Hollywood years, you know, the films that quickly became a treadmill, and the 70s with the Vegas concerts, which again became a treadmill, and then his untimely death. Most books, in one way or another, will tell those stories. My book doesn't do that. Obviously Elvis's story will be contained in a book, but my book comes at it from what I believe is a totally unique angle. So stay tuned, please subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let's talk Elvis. So that's it for now. Cheers, yakida, and I'll see you soon on the Tainted Tavern.